The Outdoor Show. It's the program that puts you into the peaceful and beautiful home of Mother Nature. It moves you back to that calm fishing pond up north, one step away from Lake Michigan, or into your hunting blind on a brisk fall morning. The Outdoor Show. It's a peaceful program. This is not your mother's outdoor show. This is the WHTC Outdoor Show, hosted by a guy who literally has hunting in his name. Tom Medendorp is Dutch for Village in the Maiden, or King's Hunting Ground. Your co-host, sometimes, is Tim Becker of Powderhorn Guns and Archery. It's time for what really happens when the guys go up north on that hunting trip. It's time for the WHTC Outdoor Show, presented by My Firearms ETS. That's MI Firearms ETS on 1450 WHTC, Holland's news leader.
Good morning and welcome to the Outdoor Show. I'm Tom Medendorp, and my sometimes co-host is on a sometimes trip again. But I'm here with Mike Graves from the DeGraff Nature Center right here in the heart of Holland.
Good morning.
How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. You know, on the way here this morning, I can't get over how people like to use their horn on their car. You know, I come up to the intersection. They weren't honking at me, by the way. Okay. But I come up to the intersection, and what we've got is we've got 2 lanes going my direction, 2 lanes to turn right. There's 1 lane coming back at me, and they have 1 lane to turn left. So there's 3 lanes for people to go into. So as the light turns, the 2 of us, we're 2 abreast, and we turn into our lanes, and the person coming the other way turns into their lane and gets upset because their lane converts to a turn lane, and that person didn't want to turn, so he laid on the horn, stayed on the horn, just left the horn going and behind the other guy, and was just upset that the guy was in his lane like he was supposed to be.
A little too early in the morning for that.
That's just obnoxious.
Why do people do that? I just don't get it. For 12 years, I had a truck that didn't even have a horn, and I don't miss it. I don't think I've used the horn on my other truck.
Right.
No, you just shout at people, right, Tom?
No.
No, it's a joke.
I get that, but I kind of just watch people, and it just amazes me. And I think, isn't there enough noise?
Yes.
Isn't there enough noise in the world? But there is a peaceful spot right in the heart of Holland.
Yes,
over at DeGraff Nature Center. 18 acres, isn't it?
18 acres, yeah.
18 acres of peace.
Most of the time.
Well, I would hope. You have anything real exciting going on as far as any types of issues happening at the DeGraff Nature Center right now?
Yeah, we actually have some really exciting things happening right now. We're in the process of kind of renovating the entryway to the park. Up until mid to late February, we had an old farmhouse and garage in front, kind of blocking the view from the road. The house is gone, the garage is gone,
Really?
The lot is leveled out and seeded for grass, but we've got a big master plan in place for that, and we're looking to do new driveway access so that we can get buses off the road. Dropping kids off on the road has always been a concern of ours, so with the new plan, we'll have a U-shaped drive so that buses can pull off and drop off right in front of the door. New parking, we're going to do an open-air pavilion so we can have some outdoor classroom space or picnic space, of course. But
that's
that's
awesome.
We got a lot of things going right now. We're in the fundraising process, and we're looking at different grants that we can apply for. And hopefully here in the next, within the next year, we can break ground and do some improvements.
Do you deal with the grant process a lot or not?
I'll probably be involved with it. Rob, the director there.
Rob usually does most of the grant stuff.
He'll do that, and he'll work with Andy Kenyon and perhaps some other people to get those grants in place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully nothing bad happens over there at DeGraff Nature Center that throws things off, like what we've got going on here in Michigan. We've got the recent discovery of CWD in a wild deer, one that's not captive. Back in 2008, we had captive deer in Kent County that was diagnosed with CWD, and our DNR, our NRC, the Natural Resource Commission, they put into place, they had a plan in place, and that plan included banning baiting throughout the state.
Sure.
Now, I know that got a lot of hunters upset. Many complaints came with one deer that was captive, and now you're going to, knock out baiting throughout the entire state for that reason. And their reasoning was the fact that wild deer could approach the fence where the captive deer were, and there could be the contact made and the spread start, and then by not baiting, you don't have the transfer of saliva and so on.
Right.
And it was good reasoning, but there was a lot of people that thought it was overboard. Well, they released or removed the ban because they found that nothing had happened. And now we have over Lapeer County, I think. I'm not positive. It's over to the east side by Detroit.
Sure.
There's a wild deer that was diagnosed with CWD. And what they did this time is they banned baiting. They took a 10-mile radius from where the deer was found. Any county that it touched 3 counties, and they banned the baiting in those 3 counties.
Okay.
Which I hope that is a sufficient reaction.
Right.
Because I think about it, there's been, and you're a naturalist and you understand about the ecosystem and everything, but over in Wisconsin, they've dealt with the CWD situation for better than a decade.
Okay.
And they've got a lot of discourse between the hunters and the DNR managing it.
Sure.
I don't know their technical term. Ours is the Department of Natural Resources. I don't know what their department is. Maybe it's also the DNR. Yeah. But I hope that we can move forward with this stuff and be careful not to overdo it, but definitely don't underdo it.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a balance in everything. So you naturally end with our involvement. So we gotta.
And I think about it. Spread of CWD would wipe out a lot of deer, but it'll also lower the number of hunters. Which Dan had me on Thursday morning, I think it was, to ask me some questions about it, and I pointed out then that if we lose our number of hunters, we lose our money for environment, habitat, and other things like that. That, I think, plays into the grants that DeGraff looks for.
Yeah, sometimes. Yep, some of those grants are hunter funded.
They come through that because here's the scoop. This is how it works. We got 1937, the Pittman-Robertson Act was passed. It's an excise tax on hunting equipment, ammunition, firearms. That tax that's placed on those gets paid to the federal government, and that excise tax then goes into a pool. That pool sits there for all 50 states. The square mileage of the state and the number of hunting licenses is how they divide the pool. Well, we can't change the square miles of our state,
right?
But the number of hunting licenses, if those reduce, we then lose our amount of money from that pool, and therefore the grants won't be available.
Yep.
And I bring this up because I want everybody to understand that it's a combination. We love places like DeGraff. We can't hunt at DeGraff.
Deer have to have some place to go, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. But we love places like that, and DeGraff receives grants that come through that money, if they apply for those.
Sure.
And if those are lost, then we lose the opportunity to get the grants to remove the farmhouse that was in the front and make it so that we can get the kids off the street. And I really want people to understand there's a balance in our economy as well as in our natural world.
Right. Just like any natural ecosystem, everything's connected. If you try to make a change to one thing, it's going to affect a lot of different parts of that.
Yeah, and I don't think people really realize that. I think it's a tough one to get the word to everybody and help them understand, because we all have our little niche, our little thing that we want to do, and
right.
We don't care about that other guy. But anyhow, I do have another question. Do you have, when you do the reed work there, are you going to have a lot more grass out front? green area that you have to care for?
Not a lot. There's gonna be a little grassy lawn area around the pavilion, so we can spill out into there with chairs if necessary, or activities for summer classes, things like that. So
areas where the grass is cut so that you're not walking through the tall weeds, you're not disturbing things that are going on.
There'll be mowed turf outside there. It's not huge, but it'll be big enough to, potentially we've kind of toyed with the idea of potentially offering it as a wedding ceremony site, and it might be big enough to put a small tent there, or at least set up chairs to do that. And that's just an idea we're brainstorming for.
That would be really sweet.
What other things we can do to generate revenue, unfortunately, but
you got to have the revenue, otherwise you can't have the stuff.
We like to think that we're in business for the the educational value and the other things, but we can't do a whole lot of that without the revenue stream. So
no, you got to have that revenue stream.
Yep.
Well, when you have to cut that grass, do you think you're going to have to get yourself some new equipment?
Maybe.
And if you have to have some new equipment to cut that grass, shouldn't you go on down to Westenbrook Mower, get that grass to make sure you have all the right equipment to keep that grass trimmed for those wedding ceremonies and such?
Sure.
Well, Westenbrook Mower, where they service what they sell, has everything you need to care for your lawn this summer. All units are ready to use when they leave the store, and Westenbrook submits your warranty information so you don't have to. Stop into the Holland or the Jenison store, check them out on your computer at westenbrookmower.com, or call them at 616-396-5733. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on The Outdoor Show. The Outdoor Show, brought to you by Farmers Co-op Elevator in Hudsonville. It's your food plot headquarters with over 40 different seed varieties to choose from, providing in-house soil testing as well as fertilizers, lime, and equipment to plant, maintain, and get maximum performance out of your food plot. If you're in the need for food plot seed and other things to help with your hunting season coming up, the Farmers Co-op is at 3302 Prospect Street in Hudsonville. If you're looking for a complete list of their products and services, check them out online at fcelevator.com. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly. Oh, no, I just read the wrong thing. We're back already.
We're back already.
Do you even know where you are, Tom?
No, because I'm changing things up, and I shouldn't do that. I'm a creature of habit. I got to keep things the same, but I wanted to change it. I did. Anyway, food plots over at DeGraff Nature Center. Do you have any areas where you actually set up the environment for food plotting or other types of plants to enhance or entice animals and creatures to come in?
Not really, unless you count white cedar trees up around the building. But no, we don't have any designated food plots. We try to keep the habitat there at the Nature Center kind of natural and
as it would grow, as it would seed to spread, it'll do it on its own.
Right, and we have lots of plants there that are preferred by deer and other animals, but
so they already exist.
I suppose, yeah, natural food plots.
Well, and natural food plots. I mean, I've never food plotted. I've never baited myself. And what we do when we scout to go hunting, whether it be for, most people think deer, and I don't hunt as much deer as what people might think, but rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, grouse hunting, woodcock, quail, we look for the habitat that naturally holds them.
Right.
So we don't get into creating those habitats, but not everybody knows what to look for or has the time to go to the woods and scout for that stuff.
Right.
So it makes it kind of difficult. That's why I was kind of curious if you guys had food plot establishments. I wondered about people looking at those and seeing what kind of plant life is there. When you do activities over at the Nature Center, do you take people and explain to them what those plants, what animals look for those plants?
Yeah, we do. We if we're talking about the raspberries or the blackberries or some of the other plants with seeds, we often talk about how those plants benefit the local wildlife. Sure.
Got any wild blueberries there?
No wild blueberries on the property.
That's a good thing with all the bears roaming around.
Yeah,
town.
I know. That's tricky business right there.
Because they love the wild blueberries.
They haven't made a stop at the nature center yet, so we're keeping our eyes out though.
Well, they've got 18 acres to hang out in.
Yeah.
So, anyway, if you guys are in the market for food plotting,
Sure.
you know where to go.
We'll keep it in mind.
The Hudsonville Farmers Co-op at 3302 Prospect Street in Hudsonville. Anyhow, we've got a lot of activities coming up over at the Nature Center for the summer months.
We do. It's going to be a really busy summer for sure.
Busy's good, right?
Busy is good. It gets, the more people that come out to see us, the better. We like to share what we've got out there, and we like to get people involved with different activities. We've got a wide range of things this summer. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. You do have opportunities for people to volunteer out at DeGraff too,
Oh,
right?
sure. Yeah, we're always looking for good volunteers, or long-term volunteers, one-time volunteers, from everything. We have lots of special events throughout the year that we need help with, trail work, helping with school groups or summer classes. Sometimes we even need volunteers to help us with our kayaking and other events. So.
This is right up my alley.
Yeah.
The only thing you're missing is a shooting range.
Oh, yeah, we're 18 acres in the city. I don't know if that's quite enough.
Probably not. The activities you just mentioned, the kayaking. Do you have quite a few events coming up for that?
Yeah, we've got three Saturday kayak trips this summer. On June 27th, we're going to be on the Thornapple River over from Irving Road to Middleville. So
Nice.
It's a new river for us. I've read good things about it.
You haven't been on that river?
I haven't been on it yet.
I can tell you that's an awesome river.
But I'm looking forward to it. So
do you like to see turtles?
Yeah.
If you've got nice sunshine on the day that you go on June 27th, there's all the little backwater areas, and they fill with lily pads, and there's logs and stuff in there. That's one of my favorite places on that river to look for leatherbacks.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of leatherbacks
Sure.
in there. And if people go, they have to understand the leatherbacks are much more skittish than paint turtles.
Yeah, you can't get too close.
No, you can ride right up by the paints, but the leatherbacks, they're gone just as soon. So if you got, if you're going to take, do they take cameras on the kayaks?
Sometimes, yeah.
Because if they're going to do that, make sure they have Zoom.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
I actually have a question.
What's that?
Do you guys have your own kayaks that you supply?
We
or-
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have your own, you can take them. We can make room. But we've got a set of boats and a trailer and all the gear, life jackets, paddles, that sort of stuff. So.
All right.
Yep.
So you can go too, Caitlin.
Yay! I actually have a kayak. Believe
You
it
do?
or not.
Well, they can haul it for you.
Yeah.
But you guys have all that equipment there and so on.
Yeah.
But what other trips you got going on?
Saturday, July 25th and August 29th, we're going to be on the Kalamazoo. We're going to do the first section from the Allegan Dam into the state game area on the 25th of July, and then we're going to do that next section from, it's called the Pipeline Access, but it's kind of right in the middle of the state game area, and we're going to come down to New Richmond. So the first one's 2 to 3 hours. The second section's a little longer, 3 to 4 with lunch.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool because now you get somebody who comes in July, they're going to want to come back in August
Exactly.
and want to repeat that
Yeah.
trip because that's an awesome section.
It is. Those two sections are really good. There's the first section. There's no houses. It's all state game area. It's like paddling through the wilderness. The second section has a little bit of development here and there, but it's still pretty well wooded. The whole section. I
Right.
mean, it is all wooded, but it just has a couple of houses here and there. So
Are the
no big
waters
deal.
real rough? Because I have a tendency of flipping over.
No, the Kalamazoo is really good for beginner paddlers. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think we've ever had anybody flip over in the Kalamazoo. It's there's current there. It's a big river, so there's lots of water moving, but it's wide enough that you can easily get around any obstacles that there might be. So if you've paddled on lakes before and you want to get into river paddling, which is a whole different kind of thing, Kalamazoo is a good place to start.
It's definitely a good place to start. You start on the slower ones, then you can graduate, and then maybe you can take the Pine up north from Briar Patch on down, which it's narrow, it's windy, and it's the fastest moving river that we have in the Lower Peninsula.
Yep.
At 6 mile an hour. People go, oh, 6 mile an hour.
It's not very fast unless there's a tree in front of you.
They get in the water and they go, whoa.
Yeah.
So you got 3 kayaking trips.
Yeah, those are our Saturday trips. We're doing a couple of new things this year. We're giving people a chance to, if you've never kayaked before, we've got 2 sessions. One of them is, well, now I don't have the dates in front of me, but
well, that's okay.
June 7th, I believe. But they're just real easy on flat water kayaking things. So
Well, June 7th, that'd be a Sunday.
that Sunday must be the 9th then, because it's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
We're
Okay,
gonna do 4 to 7 p.m. on a Tuesday, early June, and then I believe June 25th. That's a Thursday.
Well, we'll find those dates, and we'll let people know what they are when we return. The Outdoor Show is brought to you by Michigan Firearms, your personal protection and concealed carry specialists. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We're back. We'll be back here shortly on the Outdoor Show. Welcome back to the Outdoor Show, brought to you by Powderhorn Guns and Archery for all your arrow knocking, gun cocking, fish hooking, flag waving, stand up and say God bless America hunting and fishing needs. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We're back, ready to answer your questions right here on the Outdoor Show.
No, Tim.
No Tim to whistle. He loves to whistle along. Well, what he calls whistling.
Okay.
Mostly it's just brought the air.
Oh, all right.
But we loved him.
Only for the fact that we can harass him.
Yep.
He's a good sport, at least.
Well, he does his giving out. He's a good opponent. Anyhow, for those of you just joining us, we are here with Mike Graves from the DeGraff Nature Center right here in the heart of Holland. And we're talking about activities that are going on and coming up for the summer months, things that you might be excited about. If you missed the first half of the show, you can get plenty of information. We talked a little bit about CWD and other things and some cool happenings over at the DeGraff Nature Center. You can go to WHTC.com, media, podcasts, and scroll down to the Outdoor Show. And then you can find all the past shows loaded up on the website there so you can check out different things that are going on. Anyhow, when we left, we were talking about the paddling trips that were on nice, calm water.
Calm water this year, yeah. We're actually doing...
Did we find the June
Yep.
9th one?
June 9th. That'll be, if you've never kayaked before, don't have your own boat, we're going to get people started off on flat water. We're going to do Hawthorne Pond Natural Area, I believe it's called. It's a park out on 96th Street and Adams. Towards
A lot of people don't know it's there.
Going east, it is. It's kind of an industrial area. There's
in the front they put industrial park there. I'll kind of give a little description
sure.
because my kids loved to go there. When I was younger, we didn't really have a name designated for Hawthorne Pond. But when my kids were going, shortly before they were the age to go there, it was called Snake Lake. When my kids were really young, we used to go down there and go fishing and stuff. And to get back there, you had to go through a 2-track to get back there. Mm-hmm. And then we'd drag the boat back there, and we'd just go sit out in the middle of the pond, either in the canoe or we had a little 12-foot boat that we could sit there just out there and fish. And then Ottawa County Parks bought that land, and they improved that area, but that was after the industrial park went in the front. Now, if anybody can remember when the Burger King was on Adams Street at 96, which is not there anymore, it's behind that yet. Mm-hmm. So if you head to Adams or 16th and 96th Avenue, south of Zeeland there, and if you can enter off from Adams, but just south of Adams, off from 96, is a nice straight shot down that industrial park road, and I don't remember the name of it.
Is it kind of by the highway?
It actually is. That pond is part of the retention water system for the highway when it was put in. back in the day.
Right.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that the west branch of Macatawa River runs right behind Hawthorne Pond.
Yep.
You'd have to go through the woods, which is private property, to get to the west branch of Macatawa right there to the south of Hawthorne Pond.
Yep.
Not far away from, the two are quite close. I think I've only seen the floodwaters high enough once where they connected. Yeah. But that's pretty high that it has to get to have it connect there. Yes, I go around, I check out the floodwaters. I just love that.
Yeah, well, everybody needs a hobby.
What a nerd.
I don't know. Well, typically when we were little kids, we would go get canoes from Ward that was down the road from us. He had a couple of canoes, and every spring the creek would flood. We'd go get the canoes, and we'd go over, and we'd go through all the floodings with the canoes. Of course, it was cold. If you tipped over, it was really cold. Yep. But ever since then, whenever the river floods, because I live by the river, and whenever it floods, I like to get in a canoe and just travel around because it gets up there high enough, gets a little more speed to it. And then you got to kind of pay attention because if you have a bridge that you're coming up to and the water's too high, you got to get out. Yep. You don't want to get stuck underneath there. But I don't know, I just enjoy doing that.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we've paddled on the Kalamazoo River before during high water, and we can paddle into the woods. And
yes,
it's really an interesting thing to do, paddling in among the trees. So, yeah. I'm with you.
It's easy to move around, check things out. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. So for people that haven't kayaked before, if they join you on the 9th of June, Tuesday evening, would they meet you at Hawthorne or meet you at DeGraff?
Yeah, we're just going to meet right there. We'll take the boats and all the equipment there, and
go ahead.
You can give it a try. It's just $5 to try it out. You can stay as long as you want or as little as you want, and then if you like it, you can come out on the Kalamazoo with us.
We'll give them a little more detail on that. We got a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. First name?
Hello?
Good morning, caller.
Oh, they hung up.
Oh, bummer. That's okay.
Please call back.
They'll call back, and we'll get them. Anyway, so Hawthorne Pond, I think you could probably put it into your web browser and to Hawthorne Pond, probably Holland versus Zeeland, because that is Holland Township on that side. So if you put in Hawthorne Pond, Holland, you might be able to get that right off your computer with directions.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty easy to find if you're in that vicinity.
Yeah. It's a lot of people get confused though when they look for it.
Yeah, there is a sign on 96th. A brown information sign pointing you in the right direction, I believe.
I got you. Yeah, there is one right on 96. If you go south of Adams, you can see it on the right-hand side. It tells you to go up that road. We got our caller back. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Good morning. I hear you guys talking about this Hawthorne Pond.
Yes.
And I like to take my grandchildren there sometime. I wonder what the law is as far as how old does a child have to be required to have a fishing license?
17 years of age.
So before that, they are allowed to fish without a license?
Yes, I'm not a legal advisor or anything like that. I got to do my disclaimer, But, our youth...
if a grandfather takes them and he does not have a license, or is he required to have a license for taking them?
If he touches
as long as he does not fish.
If he touches that fishing pole, he's required to have it.
Okay.
So the grandkids got to be pretty self-sufficient at that point. Okay, again, I'm not a legal advisor, but as far as I understand, because I took my kids fishing all the time when they were younger, they do not have to have a license until they're 17 years of age. And as far as I know, you don't have to have a license to take them.
Okay.
It's probably a good idea. Because if you,
I understand.
Yep. But I don't know that it's a requirement. Maybe another caller might know if that's a requirement for the adult to have it, but I'm not positive. I always had one, so I never had to run into that situation. And we don't have Tim here today.
Okay. Well, I'm going to check it out anyway, but I thought I'm going to check with you guys while I was listening. So
yeah, have you taken?
I will check it out at a sports store. So.
Yeah, where they do the licenses, they should know. Also, if you've got web access, just go to spell out Michigan and then .gov or .gov for government. So michigan.gov/DNR, and that'll put you right on the page. On the left, there's a menu you can hit for fishing. If we can find that while we're still on the air, I'll make sure I say something about it.
Sounds great.
All righty. Have you taken the kids to Hawthorne yet or not?
I've been there, yes. It's great.
It's a nice little place
to take grandkids.
Yes, it is.
Children.
It's an awesome place to take the kids for fishing.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, the fishing is always fun there. My daughter absolutely loved going fishing with me there. We would just go over there and sit down right on the north side of the pond. And on the north side of the pond, there's the shallows area.
Yep.
She would catch, they were all small bass, so she had to keep releasing them.
Sure.
But she would catch bass after bass after bass.
Yeah, that makes it fun.
Oh, yeah. I just had to sit in the chair and wait for her to bring it to me so I could unhook them and throw them back in. Yeah. But now, people head over to Hawthorne, and on Tuesday, June 9th, you'll have all the stuff there. They can pay there for the $5 to use the kayaks. Do we have canoes too?
Just kayaks.
Just kayaks.
Solo kayaks.
Okay, and then are you going to be standing in the water to help steady them and help them?
We'll certainly be there to get you launched and give you some instruction on how to make it go forward and sideways and wherever you need to go. So there'll definitely be instruction involved there too, and safety tips.
Excellent, because it's a great pond to get started on.
Oh yeah.
I just typed in Hawthorne Pond natural area to Google, and it took me to the Holland Charter Township webpage, and it says it is on Black River Court.
That's the industrial drive that goes back there.
Yeah, so
it goes back to a cul-de-sac.
Yes, so that's where the entrance is, I guess.
Excellent.
Easy enough.
What's our next kayaking trip?
Let me just get the time in there, but that one's going to be any time between 4 and 7.
That's right.
You don't need to register. You can just show up. We'll be there and give it a try.
Don't show up at 6:55.
Right.
You're not going to have a lot of time.
Yep.
So 4 and 7, then you're not even into the mosquito time.
That's right.
For sunset.
Yep.
Mosquito time's not always good. So do we got a couple more evening ones?
Yeah, we're going to do that same thing on the 25th of June, but we're going to do it at Goshorn Lake in Saugatuck.
Oh, right off exit 41 there.
Yeah, so we can,
the bottomless lake.
The bottomless lake. See, that makes it more interesting. We'll probably get twice as many people now.
Where is that?
Goshorn Lake, north side of Saugatuck.
If you take 196 down to exit 41, get off exit 41, turn right, then there's a light right there.
Right.
Then you go beyond that light just a little ways. There's a KOA campground. Oh, no, it's not KOA anymore, but there's a campground, and there's something else right there that you can access. You got to go you got to go a little further up and go past the campground for a public access area. I'm trying to remember what that road is, but I don't remember.
That's my old stomping ground. So
I used to go to Goshorn Lake when I was a kid all the time.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering because there's a in the backyard of my dad's house. There's a pretty good sized pond. If you walk probably a mile or two just straight back. And I was wondering if that's what you were talking about, but must be.
I don't think it's a good sized pond. It's a pretty good sized lake.
It's a pretty good sized lake, yeah.
And it's said to be the bottomless lake, which we'll tell you more about in just a moment. The Outdoor Show is brought to you by Advantage Marine in Zeeland with competitive prices and personalized service to meet all your needs. Repair, storage, winterizing, parts, and more. Call Advantage Marine in Zeeland at 616-748-9235 or stop in and see Dave at 8755 Riley Street in Zeeland. That's at the corner of 88th and Riley on the northeast side of Zeeland. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on The Outdoor Show. Welcome back to The Outdoor Show, brought to you by MI Firearms ETS, educating people in the safe and responsible use of firearms since 2001. My Firearms ETS offers education, training, and supply, the best you can find anywhere. Class sizes are limited. They're offered regularly. Register early to reserve your spot, 616-218-7328, or find us on your computer at mifirearmsets.com. We're back, ready to talk with you. Give us a call, 395-1450. We were just in the middle of talking about the bottomless lake.
I'm interested to hear about it.
You haven't heard?
No, I guess
Any stories about the bottomless lake?
I'm a Michigan transplant, so I don't know all the local folklore yet.
Oh, you're not an invasive species, are you?
No, definitely not.
Anyway, when we were kids, it was of course it was called the Bottomless Lake. Goshorn Lake was, and we used to go camping down there and stuff. But the one of the stories that we heard, and I have no idea if it's true or not, was that scuba divers, because it was called the Bottomless Lake, actually went down to try to find their way to see how or why the lake transfers from Lake Michigan to Lake Goshorn under the dune. Mm-hmm. It was too dark and murky to go anywhere with it. The reason that they went to check it out is that the story was during the winter, a guy went across the ice on a sleigh with horses. It broke through, the horses drowned, and the horses washed up on the Lake Michigan shore side of the dune.
Okay.
So they wanted to figure out how that happened. Now, again, that was a story. I wasn't there. But it was always that little mystery of how deep is Goshorn Lake.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, that's a good story.
Yeah, it was always fun. And we used to go to the campground and ride bikes off the dock and then swim back up with the bike. Yep. And one of the kids lost the bike.
Ah, yes.
And we were pretty young, but there was a group of college kids that were home for the summer. They were older. They could swim harder and stronger. They could go deeper and everything else. They went down and grabbed the bike before it descended into the bottomless lake.
Yeah, you just have to wait a couple years. It'll wash up on the beach.
Lake Michigan side.
So it looks like that it's right off of 65th Street.
The public access to Goshorn.
Yeah, I think so.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that would be, I think that's only a quarter mile further down from the light. I think the light is 64th, and then you go to 65th.
So you go past the Burger King and Spectators, and there's like cabins. I think that's what you were thinking of. There's like cabins that they're called Saugatuck Hideaway Vacation Rentals.
Yep, that's different. There's a campground there too.
Yeah. Okay. But
we always went to the campground, but you go past that and then you turn up, and then there's a public access closer to the lake, closer to the west end of the lake.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and that's where you guys will probably be.
Yep.
Toward the west end, closer to the dune.
Yes. Yep.
Excellent. So we got the kayaking trips going on.
Yep.
Is this the year for the Iowa Royal trip?
That'll be next summer. We're doing Glacier National Park this summer in August.
Oh yeah. See, I try to remember what Rob tells me, but I don't always remember.
Yeah. No. Iowa Royal's every other. We did it last year, so we'll do that again in 2016.
So you're gonna head to Glacier.
Yep.
Now that's what am I thinking right? That's
West
just
Montana.
That's just past Yellowstone going west.
Yeah, it's probably a good full day's drive.
Well, yeah,
past Yellowstone.
I said, well, it's not very far on the map.
Right. In
Glacier
in the grand scheme
National.
of things out there. Yeah, it's just past.
I don't want to scare anybody, but Glacier National is where my old boss, long ago, Dean Lankeek, he's since passed. He's gone, but he and his wife, after they retired, went for a trip out there. They were on a trail. They got between Mama Grizzly and her cubs, and he was attacked. And it's a long, long story, but he was attacked and he lived, and it was an awesome story, and maybe I should tell it sometime in order to warn people about bear country.
Well, our pre-trip meeting's in a few weeks. You can come and tell.
Well, there you go, because Dean's not around to tell the story anymore, right. But I remember the story quite vividly because of my time that I spend in the woods, and I enjoy being out there, and how he survived and what his wife Lorraine did for that survival. And then the people that came up the trail and everything else, it's a really cool story.
Sure.
They actually went on Oprah to tell the story.
Wow.
And of course they were on local news and everything else, but they came back to our Christmas party for the company because Dean was retired, but they came back and told the story there. Not a soul moved for over an hour. They just sat there just listening. It was pretty neat to hear the story. So anyhow, Glacier National is the big trip this summer.
Yep, we're doing that. We've got I do have a kayaking trip. It's pretty much full at this point. We're going to go up north to we're going to do the Upper Platte, the Betsy, and the Boardman rivers. We're going to do all three of them on the same weekend, so that'll be a busy weekend.
You can do all three of them on the same?
We're just going to do kind of shorter paddles on each one. We're going to camp a couple nights at Interlochen State Park and then go do day trips on the rivers. So
is the Upper Platte the one that's more busy?
No, that's the lower.
The lower Platte's the one that that's
you can
quite
put
busy.
in and paddle out to Lake Michigan from there,
Okay.
and that's real flat and calm. The upper's a little livelier apparently. Again,
That'll be good.
These are new rivers for me, so hopefully they
Well, there you go.
They go well. But
You gotta like the new rivers.
Yeah, it's always fun to get on some new rivers.
Well, one day we'll have to show you the spots. I'll have to go over the map with you on the places that we go on the Pine, the Manistee, and then up further on the Manistee where there's some really, really cool. You could set up, a long weekend, a week-long trip. You could do that kind of stuff where they can canoe and camp.
Yeah, we've done a couple days on the Manistee. I don't remember where, what section. But
Did you have spaced out campgrounds?
We camped in the same spot and then paddled upstream, and then paddled downstream.
We're gonna have to sit down. I'm gonna have to show you some cool things. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're gonna have to park your vehicle down at the end, and then you got to have your trip timed out.
I like doing it that way, but it's hard to get everybody to pack correctly for that kind of a trip.
Well, that's where you have your pre-packing meeting.
That's right.
or you have your cell phone so you can call
Right.
Jimmy John's
Yeah, exactly.
because they're freaky fast.
Yeah, we won't pack food on that trip.
Oh, there's a nice one that you could do a 2-day hike with a paddle down, and you don't spend too much time. It's great for beginners. Love to set you up with that trip.
Sure. Well, let's talk about it sometime.
We'll definitely have to talk about it because it's a nice wide area of the river, and your hike up has some inclines and declines that are not so bad, but you got some up and downs, and you're along the river. You got great overlooks of the river before you have to do your paddle, and then you do 2 short day hikes to get up there, but you can do it as a backpack trip, or you can place everything for your camp when you get to the end of your first day, and then you can spot your stuff for your second day as well if you have a big group.
Right.
And then the third day you just paddle on down nice and easy and enjoy it.
Sounds good.
I would love to set you guys up with that.
Well, we'll be looking at next summer's trip soon. So
Excellent. Well, let's do a quick rundown. We got a little under 2 minutes. Quick rundown of some of the activities going on that people can find at the website.
Sure.
DeGraffNatureCenter.org.
Just www.degraff.org.
DeGraff.org.
Yep. And then there's a calendar there. Lots of good things going on. One thing we've got coming up really soon here on the 18th of June is our annual Trail Trot 5K. It was new last year. It's a trail run out at Van Raalte Farm. It's a run or a walk. You don't have to be a runner to take part in that. Before the race, starting at 6 o'clock, this is an evening race on a Thursday. Starting at 6 o'clock, we're going to have some pre-race activities for kids and grown-ups too. But we'll have live animals. We've got a cockroach racetrack, which sounds weird, but racing Madagascar hissing cockroaches was almost as exciting as the run itself last year.
Really?
And then,
what day was
figure. That's on Thursday, June 18th, and starting at 6, the 5K starts at 7, but we'll also do a kids run too.
Do they have to pre-register?
Pre-registering is great. We're actually going to do the T-shirt order early next week, so if you want to make sure you get a shirt in your size, pre-registration is pretty important. If you don't, we'll have some extra shirts. You just may have to wear the extra small.
Do I look like an extra small guy?
Be a belly shirt.
Spandex is good, right?
There you go. So that's going to be June 18th.
June 18th.
Make a call down to the DeGraff Nature Center. What's the phone number again?
616-355-1057.
355-1057. Make that phone call to get registered for that.
Yep. Or you
See
can
those
register
Madagascar
online.
hissing cockroaches.
Cockroach races, yeah.
That'll be pretty awesome. Thank you for coming in, Mike. Appreciate it. Thank you all for listening and participating in this week's show. We'll talk to you again next week on The Outdoor Show.